Welcome to Offensive, the only show that sucks worse than NFL backup quarterbacks. And if you can't even believe it, because the NFL backup quarterbacks have proven this week that they are terrible again. They went from the darlings of the NFL to, and we don't know whether Joe Flacco counts as a backup or a starter anymore, but
yeah, leave it in the comments. I say he was the starter when he got traded. He's the starter as soon as he came over. Yes, he'll be a backup, but I think he counts as a starter.
We're hoping one day to be on Joe Flacco's level, right? You don't know for a starter or reserve, but you just don't know what, you have no idea what's coming.
That'd be going up like 4 levels for us.
That'd be going up.
Way more than 4, but
way up to 4 levels. But this and the last couple of weeks of NFL games have been kind of sloppy and terrible too, other than like maybe a few good games, right? But is exciting because you have no idea who's going to win. One week, the Atlanta Falcons defense is the best in the league. The next week, they can't stop anybody, and they look terrible, right? That's kind of what the NFL wants. So we're going to go and look over all these like fun games some of the games from this fun weekend. Here we go.
There it is. All right. Well, since we'll go on top to bottom, who's going to talk about the Denver Broncos game? Were you going to talk about that one, Doug? You want to see what Denver has to say? All right, tell us about the game. What happened? How did the Cowboys get trounced in this game?
So the thing is, like, and Dave brought this up, the Cowboys are trying to run like zone defenses. Bo Nix can like pick those apart, and the Broncos offensive line showed up. They could run the ball against the Broncos. So when the Broncos are feeling comfortable and Bo Nix can just throw those kind of easy passes,
Broncos could run the ball against the Broncos.
And what?
The Broncos could run the ball against the Broncos?
I can run the ball against the Broncos. He meant the Cowboys. Keep going, Doug. Don't interrupt.
Yeah. So, oh, God. Okay. So,
friends are good.
Dave fucked it all up. It's okay. Doug, start again. What does Denver think about this game, Denver radio? Because this is the first game all year where Denver's offense actually showed up in the first half instead of the last 12 minutes of the game. So are they thinking they're great now? They've gotten over the hump. I mean, they are 6-2. Denver's probably the ugliest 6-2 team I can remember in a long time.
So they looked really good in this game. They scored a lot of points. They were able to execute their offense really well. When I was watching the game, Sean Payton looked like he drew up a magnificent, like, genius level game plan for this game, right? So, like, the question is, can they do that? Can Bo Nix perform like this against good defenses and good teams? He's going to have to show that he does. I feel like they're a really good team that can pick on bad defenses. They did stop the Cowboys offense, which was like kind of shocking. Like they kind of shut them down, even though they did score 24, but most of the game, they only had about 12 points. So, the Cowboys' deep offense is supposed to be really, really good, and the Broncos made them almost a non-factor in this game. So the Broncos' pass rush is really, really good at times, and their back end is like super good. So that's something people can learn from, maybe how to stop the Cowboys. But the key here is Sean Payton drew up a really amazing, genius game plan against the Cowboys. It was just like scoring at will. Bo Nix looked great. Their running game looked really good. So I think the sentiment now is going from people are not sure about Sean Payton to the sentiment's really positive, and now they just need to see him be able to do this against like really good defenses and teams.
Yeah, they did have a good game plan. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, it just kind of stunk seeing Surtain go out in the second. It was the first or second quarter with knee issue knee or shin, whatever it was. Then he was able to come back in the game. He didn't quite look the same, and then he had to go out in the third quarter, and now he's going to be out for a couple of weeks with a pectoral issue, I guess. So him not being there, it hurts, but it was nice to see them still able to step up. Jahdae Barron got his first interception of his career end of the season, the first round draft pick. So it's nice to see, a hole opens up and then somebody else is able to step into it. So I think the defense showed up much better than we could have hoped. All in all, they're going to be a fun team. And next week at the Texans is going to be a really interesting matchup to see what Sean Payton can draw up against that defense. I think we're going to learn a lot more next week than we did yesterday.
I agree, because the Broncos is probably the worst matchup for the Cowboys, because the Cowboys throw the ball so well and everything feeds off of that. and their no-fly defense definitely did a good job. Not to mention they're hitting their Cowboys on their weekly loss. So, Cowboys go win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So this was their loss week. They'll probably win next week. But, Dak couldn't do anything. He didn't have a passing touchdown for the first time all season. They were held under 20 points against the Bears, but they've scored basically 30 points in every other game. And that 24, like Doug said, was just kind of some points they added on the end. So they really weren't even getting close to 20 most of the game. The game was already over by the time they scored their 20th point. So Broncos looked really good. I thought it would be a little bit closer game, but I think the Broncos are just a really bad matchup for the Cowboys, and it showed because their passing offense could not do much of anything in this game. So, all right, 6-2 Broncos leading the division. Let's go down the list, and we've got my game that I want to talk about, which is Buffalo versus Carolina. All right, look, I didn't think Carolina was going to win this game. First of all, I didn't think Andy Dalton was going to start. But I did say this is a game that the Bills need to go and dominate if they are the Bills we think they are, and they're not continuing to flounder like that Atlanta game. The Bills took care of business. They ran for 260-plus yards. Andy Dalton was having a terrible day all day. He basically gave them 14 points. And the Buffalo defense, which has been really bad, actually stopped the run. Now, I think part of that is I think there was a bad play calling. Like literally Andy Dalton couldn't get it out of his own way. He took a bunch of terrible sacks. And at the end of the half, he took a terrible sack when he should have just thrown the ball out of bounds so they could get another play. He made pretty much every wrong decision I could imagine. And having said that, he actually threw for more yards than Josh Allen. Now, he only had 174 yards, but Josh Allen had 169 because he didn't need to throw the ball because the Bills ran the ball so well. So here's some crazy stuff because Josh Allen actually set a record yesterday. And he broke Cam Newton's record, which was 46 games where he had at least one passing and one rushing touchdown, which is pretty cool, honestly. And you kind of expect those kind of stats from Josh Allen. But when I was looking that up, I actually found some other really cool stats. So check this out about Josh Allen, which I did not know. In his first 7 seasons as a starting quarterback, he holds the NFL record for most wins at 76. That's more than Mahomes, Lamar, Rodgers, Favre, Brady, all those guys. More total touchdowns at 262 than any quarterback in NFL history, and more total yards at 30,595 than any quarterback in NFL history through his first 7 years. Now, a big part of why people don't realize, I think, how good he is probably because he's in the AFC and they've been overshadowed by the Chiefs. But that's not where it stops. He has the most 300 passing and 50 rushing yard games in NFL history. He's the first quarterback with a passing, rushing, and receiving touchdown in a single game. Remember that? That was kind of cool. And he actually has the most games of 2 passing and 2 rushing touchdowns of any quarterback in NFL history. So that's some pretty significant stuff. The guy's been really good. And even though he didn't have to do a lot in the game, I think Josh Allen isn't necessarily appreciated for how good he is because those are some pretty amazing records. Long story short, though, my Panthers that I want to make the playoffs, I hope they lose next week because they play the Packers, and please let Andy Dalton play because he was so bad in this game. He literally was worth like negative 14 points in this game. The Panthers scored 9. So let's say he was worth -5 in this game. I don't think I've seen a worse quarterback performance in a very, very long time. So congrats to the Bills. You took care of it on the ground. Your defense looked good, but I think that's more Andy Dalton being just disgustingly bad versus the Bills defense being good. But hopefully they can get better. And this is a good stepping stone for them to take back that division crown from the Patriots, who now have an extra win on top of them. So, all right, we're moving on to Dave. Dave, what was your favorite game of the weekend?
I wanted to talk for a moment about Atlanta, just the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, losing 30-0 to the Panthers, then beating the Bills, then getting manhandled by the Dolphins. But I kind of want to switch over instead to the Patriots. Do you remember watching Jordan's Bulls back in the day, how the first half they'd kind of play, it's like they're playing with their food, it'd be close. And then in the third quarter, they just beat the piss out of them and outscore them by like 20 points. That's kind of what happened in New England yesterday. You look at the first half, and we thought it'd be a close game. We thought, a strong defense for the Browns. They figured they'd keep it close. Myles Garrett gets 5 sacks, which is amazing. Only one of those was kind of a gimme where he's cleaning up. The other 4 is he's just dominating guys. And even with that performance, the score is 9-7 at half. Cleveland was right where they wanted it to be. And then all of a sudden, despite getting smacked around, Drake May says, okay, let's go. And he hits 3 touchdowns in the third quarter to pull away from the game. So I thought that was a really big step just to show the maturity, even though he's getting rush out there. They're getting pressures, his offensive line, it still lacks and whatnot. But for him to have the maturity up there, and he wasn't freaking out or nothing, he wasn't yelling at guys on the sideline. He just had the composure. He's like, okay, yeah. Okay, yep, now we're going to try. And he just put the pedal to the metal on it, ripping off a big 20-yard run, and then he hits Booty for the touchdown pass shortly thereafter, finding Hunter Henry, finding Stephon Diggs. Josh McDaniels, I love trashing him in years past because I'm like, well, you're an amazing coordinator when you had Tom Brady. You go anywhere else and you think, maybe he really is a great offensive coordinator. He just isn't a head coach material. Because what he's done with Drake May this year is pretty damn fantastic. Their offensive line still has holes and whatnot. But seeing that offense rev, and nobody really thinks that they have all-star wide receivers, but he's making Booty a thing.
Yeah. And Diggs showed up. And I kind of agree with you. McDaniels has been good as an offensive coordinator, but it's just he should not be a head coach. And everyone should just realize don't hire McDaniels as your head coach. Just don't do it. Let him be a good offensive coordinator because he is a pretty good one, right? And dude, honestly, like the picture of Myles Garrett at the end of this game where he's sitting on the bench all by himself, like way down on the end of the bench after he gets a career high 5 sacks. And it means nothing. You could have been on the Packers, bro. You re-signed that contract, but we're happy with Micah. Just saying, you could have been on the Packers, bro.
He's got those 5 sacks and he's playing out of his mind, but he's still like only 7th on the MVP list because he's on the Browns.
Dude, you know who's 3rd on the MVP for Vegas right now? Drake May. Drake May skied up to 3 now, or 4 in some other polls, but he's basically 3. I think it's Mahomes, Allen, and then Drake May, which is just crazy. So, yeah, good game by the Patriots. And I just want to say real quick about the Dolphins game, since we didn't bring that up. I told you guys that Tua was due for a 4-touchdown game. I knew it was going to happen. But you know what that means? Next week, he's going to throw 2 picks and 2 touchdowns. Then the next week, he'll throw 3 picks. And then it's not going to make a difference. It doesn't mean anything. But then in 5 weeks, he'll throw another 4 touchdowns. It just, that's what he is, dude. Tua just has these games where he looks like he's got it figured out. And then he has these games where he looks like he shouldn't be in the NFL. But he's going to get some 4-touchdown games sometimes. I just happen to hit it this week. But, okay, 2 in a row for the Dolphins. Keep winning, Dolphins. Keep Mikey Flavors in the job, please.
Oh, and I did want to give one shout out. Travion Henderson been getting blasted all year because he does nothing. 10 carries, 75 yards. Real excited to see maybe his breakout. And then he got a fumble, which kind of ruined on it. But at least there's a little bit of life from the rookie everyone's been waiting for. And that's, again, an elite defense. So hopefully that's the start of something good for this year.
Yeah. So, okay, let's go on to our next thing. So we're going to do one smart, one dumb now, guys. And we didn't talk about the Giants-Eagles game, but my gosh, there was a lot of dumb stuff in there. So let's go to the dumb first because I really am really upset about this. So I'm going to go ahead and add this, and we're going to go out to right here. So this is the fumble. Watch.
Hurts, leans forward. Ball is taken away from Kayvon.
All right. So we'll watch this again, and I'm going to pause it when Jalen Hurts loses the ball. Just watch. Here it is. Hikes the ball, goes forward about a foot, moves the ball forward. So right here, the ball is gone. Jalen Hurts is extending the ball. It's already in Thibodeau's hands. At this moment, it's in his hand. He turns with it. He drops it. He picks it up. There's the whistle. So the call in this game is that, A, they called forward progress, which is BS, because you know dang well if he didn't lose that fumble, any extension that he had, they would have given it to him. 2, he wasn't on the ground. He never went down. And 3, the whistle was blown like 4 seconds, basically, after the ball was out. So the fact that this did not get what they call expedited replay, that it did not get overturned, is an absolute travesty of the system. If you cannot expedite this in instant replay and fix it, then the whole system is broken, because this, to me, is the most obvious fumble I have seen in a very long time that wasn't a fumble. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, he literally is reaching out, and he's not even done extending his arms, and Thibodeau grabs it from him. There is zero chance that he should not be called for a fumble. So, Dave, what do you think about this play? You saw it in real time. We've seen the replay. How do you feel about this call?
As a Jalen Hurts owner in Dynasty, I was PO'd because it turned the entire tide of the game. You stop him, get the ball. I like the points. Don't get me wrong. You got the pass to Barkley 2 plays later that went for the touchdown. But if you're the defense, that's a huge momentum killer because you got the ball. The refs just hosed you over. Now you feel like we're playing against the offense and the refs. You know, that it took a lot of the momentum out of the game. I thought it was pure BS. And even 2 weeks ago when they did the tush push and like they pretty much knew that, okay, he should have stopped him for forward momentum. And then they let him reach out and extend it a little bit more. And like, well, yeah, we'll just continue to give it more. And that's what's at the crux of it, because they knew that they shouldn't have done that 2 weeks ago. And this isn't even that close because he's still moving. There was no momentum getting pulled up. The ball got stripped out right away.
None.
This was a terrible, terrible call that they got to get.
It's so bad, and this isn't me hating on the tush push. Any runner in the NFL who's extending his arm, if someone takes that ball away, they are going to give him the fumble. So this is just this ref crew just did way too much drinking the night before and, had beer goggles because they couldn't see. Because guess what? That might not have been the worst call in the game. Here's this one that they did. This is offensive pass interference. How is we just complain they never call offensive pass interference? I would like them to call it more. Not when it's deep. Like Mitchell is holding his hand and he doesn't even push. Slayton doesn't even push him.
And it's zero interference.
Dude, it's defensive pass interference actually because Mitchell is holding his hand. Slayton gets around him and makes an awesome catch and they call offensive pass interference. That is, again, a worse call than the first one. The first one, you can just tell that they were drunk and not paying attention. This one, they just decided that they didn't want the Giants to get a touchdown, which, bothers me because I got Jackson Dart on my team. Not that it would have mattered, but I'm just saying.
This is a 68-yard touchdown. This is a huge
68-yard touchdown. And again, Slayton does absolutely nothing wrong here. He's going for the ball. Mitchell is grabbing his arm. So here's something I got to say, guys. Expedited replay, if you're going to use it to fix your mistakes. All this BS that this play call qualifies for it and this play call qualifies for it, but this one doesn't and this one doesn't. Figure it out, NFL. Everything that's wrong should be fixed. And you can do it now. You can do it with cameras. You can do it with instant replay. You can do it in a matter of 3 seconds where the booth calls down and says, hey, pick up the flag. That was not pass interference. You're going to give them the touchdown because the play went on. Nobody stopped. Do you see what I'm saying? And they can say, since there was no effect on the outcome because you threw the flag, we're going to keep the outcome, put the flag back in your pocket. And also don't take so many Jaeger shots the night before because you're obviously drunk today. This officiating crew had a horrific day. Now, Doug, let's go to the next one. I'm going to have you walk me through this one because this is a call. And I'm going to put this in the smart category. So there's the too dumb, that officiating category, okay? Now we're going to go to another one that I actually think is smart, but I hate it so much. And we'll go into it.
Look at he's there. He's like his hand's almost on the ground, and he throws the ball straight to the ground.
Fumbled. Number 52 of the defense recovered. It's first down.
They called it a fumble. That was called a fumble on the field.
Called a fumble on the field. So here it is, Rodgers. Now he throws the ball. You can see he is up right here. He throws the ball on the ground, okay? Because he knows he's going to get the benefit of this BS call because he's got a running back in front of him, right? And I will give Rodgers credit.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
think
smart for doing it.
Yeah, I don't think Rodgers did that by accident. I think he was like, you know what? I'll just throw it on the ground in front of me. If I get a grounding penalty, whatever. What's the big deal, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't a fumble. I will agree with that. I will agree that it wasn't a fumble. However, I will say this. There is a 0.0 billion zero chance that any receiver could catch that. So he's not throwing it to a receiver. So this receiver in the vicinity BS needs to be figured out. And this is another one where you could say, hey, if he's throwing it away and he kind of misses a receiver, or he sails it into out of bounds or whatever, I can understand that. But if it is clear and obvious that he is not throwing it to a person. I don't care that his running back is right there. There is zero chance in hell that his running back could catch that. So that's a problem with the rule, not a problem with the call. I think the officiating crew got the call right. I actually do, based on the stupid rule that the receiver's in the area. That is the right call. It's not a fumble. It is an incomplete pass. It's clear that he threw it, even though he threw it this far from the ground.
He threw
It is the right call.
Little hand
Yeah.
push.
No, it's the right call. Like he pushed it down. Now, in that sense, it's the right call for the rule, but the rule is wrong. The rule needs to be clarified to where a receiver in the area isn't good enough. You have to be throwing it at a receiver, and you can't just throw it in the dirt. And they're like, oh, there's a running back 7 yards from him. That's not intentional grounding. They need to clarify it. And I know it's mucky already, and I know it's difficult, but this is where expedited replay can say, he's throwing that ball in the dirt, we're giving him a penalty, right? Or he's not throwing that to where anyone could catch it on purpose. It's pretty obvious, we're giving him a penalty. Because right now, receiver in the area, what does that really mean? That could be, I've seen them say receiver in the area when there was a receiver 15 yards from
against
the ball.
Dallas, there was nobody even, it was like 20 yards downfield.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, you can't just say receiver in the area because that's already up for conjecture. So, if you're going to have this dumb rule, you need to clarify what receiver in the area means, and you need to figure out, like, which ones are actual grounding and which aren't, because that's 100% grounding, but it's not because the rule is broken. So smart on Rodgers to take advantage of a very, very stupid rule, or at least incomplete, let's say. So,
yeah, but they'll never change it because all they care about is protecting quarterbacks. It's literally like the only thing they care about.
No. That's all I'm saying is you can still throw the ball away. I'm not saying don't give them the option to throw the ball away, but if they're obviously dirting it just to not take a sack, I mean, Rodgers is still taking a sack here. He's not protecting himself. Do you see what I'm saying? No. Like, if anything, he's causing more chance for injury by putting his hand out there and not protecting himself. Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, that's not protecting the quarterback by not calling that. That's actually giving him more cause to get hurt by trying to take advantage of the rule. And maybe not a crazy amount, but that's just my point there. But I agree with you, Doug. It's all about the offense. But let's just be clear, and let's use expedited replay to fix stuff that's obviously broken and not use it whenever you feel like, NFL. Vegas didn't call it in, apparently, in the Giants game. Well, do you know what I mean?
And we had a similar play in the Bears game where Snoop Huntley was driving the Ravens down. You know, they're already up by one score. It was in the fourth quarter. It was 3rd and long, and he threw it to DeAndre Hopkins on the sidelines. You see Hopkins, he extends both of his arms. He gets the DB in the face mask, and you see the head snap for the DB. So it's obvious that he face masked him off offensive pass interference. Yep. Then he just catches it to give him the first down, and they didn't. Like, there, that could have been a real easy instant review and just, okay, yep, incorrect call, offensive pass interference.
So there's offensive pass interference, Dave. Your guy obviously did it wrong. He didn't hold the guy's hand. So, you know, hold the guy's hand, okay, everybody. If you want to get an offensive pass interference call, hold their hand to make sure you don't get it. Yeah. What a terrible call. Seriously, like, Mitchell's obviously fouling him here, basically. Defensive PI. But normally they let you get away with that because, you know, your hands are down. They can't necessarily see it. Like, I'm not even saying they should have called defensive pass interference. I'm just saying, how could you call offensive pass interference?
Oh, yeah.
It's impossible. It's impossible to understand. Too many Jaeger bombs, guys. Too many. There it is.
That little push off that he did is what they think like was a big push off, but it really was nothing.
Well, and it only looked weird because Mitchell was holding his hand. So when Slayton got his hand away, it looked like
you can just see how the ref misinterpreted that. It looked like
he did more than he actually did. It looked like he did more when in reality he just got his hand off of Slayton grabbing it. So that's why it was so bad. Anyway, so that's our many dumb and one all dumb. It's really just all dumb. Let's be honest.
As part of the smart and dumb thing, I think I want to do a little mini segment here about that whole thing about gambling and the refs, because we've saw that big scandal happening with the NBA. Do you think that the NFL is worried about this, and to get ahead of it, they might use more expedited and like centralized replay and stuff to try to like prove to people that the refs aren't cheating and they're not on the take from the gangsters?
I honestly don't know if it would be like gambling related, Doug, but I think just for the refs' health and mental safety, why not use expedited replay? They're human, man. Like, they're going to make mistakes. When they make stupid mistakes, instead of us hating them, expedited replay could fix it and make everybody's life better. Why do they complicate it so much and say you can't do this and you can't do that? We have the technology. We have the technology. Use it. Use it to fix the play, make the refs' lives better and safer all around. Do you know what I'm saying? And like,
I mean, I don't
take
think that's their
advantage.
top priority. I think their top priority is the shield, like the whole branding of
It's
the
the
NFL.
product and making the product interesting.
Yeah,
right?
they're worried about, the idea that the refs could be on the take, because all these guys that are like talking about it that got caught for gambling in the past, referees and umpires, say that it's widespread. Like, there's
Yeah.
tons of refs and people on the take, shaving points, doing all
Yep.
this stuff, changing games, and the
We all
NBA,
know it,
NFL, everywhere.
and we've seen it. And here's the problem: the NFL still does not employ their refs full time. So most of these guys are lawyers, right? And it's not like they're poor. Don't get me wrong; they obviously have enough time for extracurriculars, right?
Yeah,
But
they get flown first class to all of the games on the
Yeah.
NFL's dime.
But again, the NFL refs should have one job, which is to be an NFL ref, and they should be paid well because it is a $1 billion industry.
Trillion dollars now, probably.
Yeah. So refs should be making loot. I'm not saying like $10 million, but like, yeah, if you want to pay these guys $1.5 million a year so that they do this one job and that's it, and they don't feel the need to gamble or have less of the need to gamble, it doesn't matter. Some people, they're just addicts, and it doesn't matter how much money they have. It's going to happen, right? We all know that. It's human nature. But I'm just saying, like, pay them enough money to where this is their only job, their only focus. They do training in the off season, and then they use expedited replay, and you can get it right. Why won't the NFL do this? Because we talk about it, and any news is, or any press is good press, right? Like, they want it in the papers. They want you to be mad about it. They want you to talk about the NFL because it's just more money. That's why they won't change it. Not because they can't, but because it's better for them not to get every call right. It's better for them to have the conspiracy theories and everything else because it just creates more content. We're talking about it now. So, yeah, that's why I don't think it's going to change. But I don't know if they're worried about gambling as much. I think it is what it is. They've been point shaving for years, man. Like, everybody knows it.
Yeah, but now, like, there's a huge drama happening without in the open in the FBI, whereas I think before they felt safe. The NBA was able to push that under the rug in the past. Now they're not so much.
Like, everybody thinks now that the Jordan thing, like, I've always heard the theory that Jordan got caught in a gambling ring, right? And did all this other stuff. And he was basically told to go away for a while, right? To Major League Baseball, maybe not to do that, but they came up with a game plan. And then when it kind of cooled down, he came back. Plus, they realized their product wasn't making as much money without Michael Jordan, so they wanted him back, right? So that's been a conspiracy theory for a long time. And everybody knows Jordan was a gambling addict. Like, well, everyone in the zeitgeist hears that Jordan was a gambling addict. There's no proof, obviously. But, it kind of puts credence to it because it sounds like this is not the first time it's happened. Chauncey Billups isn't the first guy to be a part of a scam like this. I mean, gambling's been going on for a long time.
The only evidence we have anywhere of Jordan, like, gambling on NBA games and, like, telling people insider information is him telling people, I'm going to score 45 points tonight.
Yeah, no. Well, again, the Chauncey Billups
he's
thing.
Not point shaving. He's just like, hey, I'm going to score a ton of points.
Yeah, that was Terry
Bird used to do that
Rozier
too.
Terry Rozier was accused of that. The Chauncey Billups thing is like, he would just show up to games. The games would be rigged, right? So he was like their celebrity, which would bring in more money and more people. The games would be rigged, and then Chauncey Billups would get a cut of it, right? So, like, Jordan liked to be there and gamble. And if they're like, hey, this game's rigged, and they make it so Jordan.
Well, Terry Rozier was telling people, I'm only going to score 10 points, and would take himself out of the game.
Are you serious?
Yes, that's what actually happened. He was point shaving. Jordan, the opposite. He would be like, no, we're going to win by a lot. We're going to win by 45.
No part of me believes that Jordan would take any amount of money to lose or not score.
Right. He would never do that.
No part of me believes that. But do I think Jordan would go to a poker game and rip a bunch of people off for his own self-satisfaction? Yes, I do believe that. I do believe he would do that.
And that's
but
not
again,
illegal.
It's just conjecture. It is illegal if the game if the game is handled by like a professional who takes a portion of the winnings, then yes, that is
they
illegal
take a
gambling.
rake, and if he's part of the gimmick of like
Yes.
advertising Jordan's going to be there, but I don't think he would do that either. Like he doesn't need that.
I don't know. I don't think he went to play baseball just for fun. That's all I'm saying. I just don't think he went to play baseball just for fun.
It could be. I think that could be true, but I just don't think it's what these terms are talking about. It could.
No, that's fine. Again, that's all just conspiracy theory stuff. But gambling is widespread in all sports. All sports. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
It's
and there's a
widespread in all
competitive issue because players gamble a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a new rule saying that like college players can gamble now or
Yep,
something.
now they can gamble, which I think is a terrible idea. These are poor kids. These are. Do you know how? Like, if you go to UL Lafayette and like your parents got no money and you're on a small NIL scholarship, and someone says, "I'll give you 75 grand to do this if you can, and if you achieve it, I'll give you like more money than you've seen in your entire life." I mean, they're human. They got families. They got friends who need money, who need surgery. Like, of course, this is going to be a problem. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. And I'm not saying that doesn't already happen on some level, but I think allowing them to gamble is just going to.
It happens a lot more than we think. Michael Franzese, who has a YouTube channel, the guy that's from the movie The Goodfellas, like the real life mobster guy, he literally says back in the early 2000s, I had this many people on the take and I would go, and it's so easy to get refs, athletes to be part of your gambling thing because they're all super competitive. They all love gambling. And he's like, he now goes and speaks at universities. He's spoken at 300 different universities to tell kids, like, don't do this. I used to be the guy in charge of all this, and it's going to ruin your life. Like, don't do it.
It's so easy for us to take your money. You don't even realize it. Like, gambling is set up for you to lose. So it's not a competition. It's dumb luck when you win money. Most of the time you're going to lose. That's how it's set up.
And if the mob gets their ties in with you, you're done. Like they don't just like let you go or let you do whatever. Now they got you because you've done illegal things.
No. So Joe Pesci always told us. But all right, let's move on to something less depressing. And let's talk about the best game of the entire weekend. The best game, the Bears losing. So Dave, you thought I was going to say the Packer game, but let's talk about it because the one backup quarterback this week, guys, Carson Wentz was trash. Dalton was absolute trash. Mariota, trash. Okay. Kirko Chains. Oof, dude, retire. You got plenty of money. Trash. But Tyrod, who's the man? Snoop Dogg taking the Ravens down. Tell us about the Ravens game, Dave. How did they pull this one out?
Well, it's the same thing that we've been seeing pretty much all season long. The first 15 plays that are scripted, so Caleb knows exactly what to do one play into the next, so he's been coached on that. We're highly efficient. We moved the ball down the field. We had big drives. We get down to the red zone, and then all of a sudden he started the choke again. But at least for those first 15 plays, we had an efficient offense. After that, once you try to go, okay, he doesn't know what's going to happen beforehand, then I don't think he's able to process quite as well. So it was a close game for
Dave. We lost your audio.
Oh, your audio, Dave. Your audio went away. We can't hear you. Technical difficulties. He was about to say something nice about the Bears.
I know.
And StreamYard just shut him down because they were like, this is garbage. This is bad content. We got to take him offline. Nope, still can't hear you, dude. Are you on mute? Are you on mute? Oh, wait, hold on. Unmute Mike. Let's see if I can unmute. Nope, I can't unmute his mic. You muted yourself. Unmute yourself.
It's not letting him.
Weird.
Try to hit the mute button on your microphone.
Oh, yeah, it could be on your microphone. All right. While Dave's messing around with that, let me tell you guys some stats, okay? If Dave's ever allowed back, he only Dave, think of something terrible to say about the Bears, and I bet it will work. Okay.
It'll just
yeah. So here's something about the game because he's back. Okay.
No,
is
he's
it working?
not. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Dave.
No idea what happened there. Okay. So yeah, it's when he doesn't know predetermined one play to the next, he just doesn't seem to grasp everything yet. He's still trying to think too much and he still doesn't get it. He's relying on Rome too much as a safety blanket when DJ's still a damn good wide receiver. Yeah. But he just only targets on Rome. Don't get me wrong, he's on my dynasty, but I want to have an efficient, balanced offense. Throw it to DJ more. And I was going nuts in the third quarter, and I told my wife, I'm like, all right, DJ's open. Why not throw it him? And she is a Vikings fan, so she didn't really care too much. And even she saw that DJ's there. He's not throwing it to him. And when he does, he is throwing it high. So his accuracy is off, his mechanics. And I saw The Athletic had an article last week that they tried to say, okay, the first however many games that Goff had with Ben Johnson, compare that with Caleb. And now after the first 8 weeks, then from 9 on for the rest of the season, he did amazing. So maybe this is that time for Caleb. But when you look at all of the stats, it's just like Caleb isn't Goff. He's not as efficient. And Caleb had over 3 seconds per pass.
Dude, the Bears offensive line, now the Ravens are beat up, so they haven't had a pass rush all year, right? They've been really bad on the pass rush. But, dude, Caleb had all day to throw. And he's still – so here's some stats for you guys, too, because I thought this was really interesting. So Caleb was actually 25 of 38, which isn't terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible for 285 yards, okay? Which, again, not bad stats. Some of that came later in the game. The Bears had 19 first downs and were 6 of 13 on third down. That's almost 50%. That's actually pretty good, right? But here's the problem, Dave. They couldn't run the ball because the Ravens basically decided they were going to let Caleb throw and try to stop the run, which he burned him a couple times. He had a couple nice throws, but like you said, he missed a bunch of throws on those third downs. 6 of 13 doesn't sound bad, but there was at least 4 that I saw where Caleb had an open guy and just flat out missed him on third down. Just flat out missed him. Bad throw, bad location. And this is the thing to do with Caleb Williams, is to force him into third and long, because I don't understand why he's not rolling out and trying to create magic or do whatever like he used to do 2 years ago at USC. It's almost like he's stuck. He just stays in the pocket and he waits and he waits and he waits. And it's like, dude, get out, cause chaos. Like, I think he's in his head that he has to like make these perfect throws, and he just needs to relax. He was not relaxed in this game. The Bears could not run the ball. And it ultimately came down to the Bears got 0 turnovers for the first time in 5 weeks. And they had one big one, and they lost by 2 scores because of it. Cause they've been kind of living off the turnovers in the run game. They had neither this week, and they were relying on Caleb to take him down and win it. And he struggled when he needed to perform on those third downs. So 6 of 13 sounds decent, but it should have been like 10 of 13, if I'm being honest, or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we got 11 penalties again for 79 yards. We're shooting ourselves in the butt a lot of times with that. Our defense gives up over 6 yards per play.
Yeah.
Which is
again, worse in the league.
Less than ideal.
Worse in the league in yards per play.
Just not so great, you know.
Not ideal. Not ideal.
And
I mean,
again,
the Bears had more total yards again. They had 372 to the Ravens 355, but the Ravens had 177 on the ground. Okay.
Yep.
So the Bears offense also had 6 yards per play, guys. So their offense actually did decent. It's just when it came down to it, when they needed it, they couldn't put points on the board, unfortunately. And again, no turnovers. They've been kind of living on that. I think that was the ultimate thing that killed them. Because if Lamar played in this game, I feel like the Ravens would have smoked him. And the fact that Snoop played and did just enough on offense with the passing game, and he actually had some good running plays too. I'll give him credit.
He had a lot of success running to the left.
He did.
He had RPOs where he'd do runs, and then his back breaking run against us where he got on angry runs this morning. Where he gets the first down and then he drives his knee into the DB who's trying to tackle him, gets the ball down to about the 3-yard line. It was a hell of a run by him, but he had a lot of success rolling out to the left. We didn't have any answer for it. I think we only tackled him once where we stuffed him.
Yeah, or he was sliding down or going out of bounds. Yeah, like he wasn't taking big hits or anything. So, yeah, no, I'll give him credit. He played pretty well. And, he's been a decent backup for years, but this was just the week where all the other backups suck so bad. It's just crazy that he was able to be successful. So, but yeah, now the Ravens have the best odds to win that division, which is nuts considering that they were 1-5 and now they're only 2-5. But their schedule gets really easier with Lamar coming back.
No, you can say this is easy. At Dolphins, at Vikings, Browns tough. And then Jets, Bengals. I think that's very, very manageable.
It is manageable, especially with Lamar back. And the defense has played better. Now, they still gave up a lot of yards in this game. They got cooked deep a couple times by Caleb and Rome, right? And again, there were plays for the Bears to make. The Bears could have done a lot better in this game offensively. But, I mean, the Ravens at least are stopping the run a little bit better, which, they had a lot of problems with. And this is the kind of defense that until their edge rushers are healthy, they need to rely on turnovers too, kind of like the Bears. So I think these next couple weeks with Lamar back, I mean, turnovers have killed the Ravens all year. If Derrick Henry doesn't fumble in that Buffalo game, they walk away with it. Do you know what I'm saying? Heck, if he doesn't fumble in the not the Chiefs game, was it the Rams game where he fumbled and then that kind of like curtailed? Yeah. So like turnovers have been killing the Ravens. They got on the other end of it. That stuff tends to even out. So we'll see how they go. But yeah, Ravens are now picked to win the division in Vegas odds. Crazy enough.
With 2-5, they started off 1-5, and we talked about it earlier off camera. I love the AFC North because the Steelers have the highest point differential at 0.
At 0.
They're a push on the season. Otherwise, you have the Bengals are -79, Ravens -36, and the Browns are -58. The only division out there that doesn't have a single team with a positive point differential.
Yeah,
that is special.
It's funny the Bengals are -79, and they should have won yesterday. They were smoking the Jets, and they absolutely collapsed, much like the Giants did against the Broncos, right? So so even if they won that game, they'd be -77 and like 4-4. Like, how crazy is that? So yeah, what a crazy weekend. NFC North looks pretty strong. AFC North, yikes.
But how did the leaders of the AFC North look last night?
No, they were awful. Let's talk about that game. Jordan Love goes into Pittsburgh and defeats the Tyco Tonka trucks. Because, my God, those Steelers uniforms are the grossest thing I've ever seen. We're
talking about
awful.
the Packers-Steelers game now.
Yeah. All right, Doug, you haven't talked in a while. Tell me what you thought about.
Well, I'm talking like that so people in AI know what we're talking about.
AI, okay. We are talking about.
We're talking about the Packers-Steelers game.
The Green Bay Packers, the McCarthy Bowl.
Yeah.
We live in a world now. They need to know what we're talking about. Yes, the Packers won, and they scored more than 27 points.
Yep.
So this is the thing. The Packers looked not so great in the first half. They couldn't stop the Pittsburgh Steelers running game when they had the jumbo in there. The one weakness of the Packers defense, other than their cornerbacks or whatever, is their defensive line can be pushed around a little bit. Pittsburgh did that. But look, this is the thing people don't realize. They had a bunch of offensive linemen go out of the game and get injuries, and they couldn't run the jumbo line, and they had a little bit trouble running the ball after that, and then the Packers just ate them alive. If that didn't happen, if the Pittsburgh kept those guys healthy, it might have ended up being a close game. But, you can't just rely on one trick or gimmick to win you a football game, right? It shows the Packers are well-rounded. They can win different ways, even though they need to get their run game going. And then Micah Parsons is just there to close the game off. So the Packers look pretty good, and they look well-rounded. They have so many players and playmakers on the team that Matthew Golden turned off his Instagram account because he didn't want to hear everyone complaining that he didn't get any passes and yards.
Oh, poor guy. He'll get there. Dude,
he ran backwards too in that one pass play. Dude, but people might not realize that's a big part of the game. And the Packers offensive line started pass blocking a little bit better in this game. They still can't run block at all.
Yeah.
But is that enough to carry the Packers to beat other good teams, considering their O-line is very suspect right now?
So I thought the pass blocking was good. So here's an example. Zach Tom went out for a little bit, and it freaked me out because our boy TJ Watt, University of Wisconsin, is one of the best pass rushers in the league. Now, we all said paying him was maybe not a great idea just because of his age, not because of his skill, but he has an effect on almost every game that he's in. And did you guys even hear his name called last night?
No.
Other than what happened to TJ Watt? Because Zach Tom handled him. Zach Tom didn't let him touch Jordan Love. They only had like 2 or 3 pressures in the whole game.
He did have 2 or 3 plays that he did get to him and cause some problems and stuff.
But I'm just saying, TJ Watt does a lot more than that on a regular basis. This is a defensive player of the year kind of player.
But TJ Watt does disappear at times, especially in important moments in games, like Steelers fans have told me.
Fair enough. I'm just saying Zach Tom handled him. And on the other side as well, like, even though the run blocking wasn't great, Jordan Love had a couple plays where he had to get out of the pocket. But for the most part, Jordan Love was also making their job easier because he wasn't holding on to the ball forever. Right. He was counting to 1, 2, 3 and then basically ripping it. Right. And here's something else I'll say, too. So I've been saying all year that Jordan Love looks a lot better since last year, a lot more accurate since basically he hasn't been injured. Right. Because he wasn't very accurate when he had those 2 lower body injuries last year. And then as the year went on, he got better. This year, he's been phenomenal. So in this game, he had 8 incompletions. So let me tell you about the 8 incompletions. He had 3 dropped passes, all on third down, which like freaked me out because they were all in the first half, right? 3 drop passes. He had 2 balls that he dirted on purpose, right? The one at the end of the game, and then he had another one where he just threw it away so he wouldn't get sacked, which was the smart decision. So that's 5, okay? He had the one deep one to Romeo Dobbs that Romeo Dobbs got tripped up in the feet. And I'm not saying that's PI or anything, but Jordan Love put it in the right spot, okay? And then he had 2 others that basically were right within the vicinity of the guy, and they didn't catch it. So literally, he did not throw a pass or make a bad decision in that game, as far as I'm concerned. Not a single one on every single pass, which is what I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to do to the Packers, which is what I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers offense would look like against the Packers defense. Instead, Jordan Love completed 20 in a row, was incredibly efficient, only ran the ball 1 time, guys. So he wasn't even running around for his life trying to get yards. He ran the ball 1 time for 1 yard. Okay. And he was just completing passes and he was hitting dudes in the numbers. Tucker Kraft looked good. And the Jordan Love throw where he was sliding to his side and he whipped it across the center of the field and it drops right in Christian Watson's lap. Like, he just does that. It seems like he's throwing a terrible pass or he doesn't know what he's doing, but he does it all the time. It's like a skill. Do you know what I'm saying? Did we lose Chief? Am I saying too many nice things about the Packers?
We said too many nice things about the Packers.
So I'll just say this. Jordan Love is highly underrated. Jordan Love, at this stage in his career, his 3rd year, to me, looks as good or maybe even better than Aaron Rodgers did at this stage in his career. Now, at the end of Aaron Rodgers' season, 3rd season, Aaron Rodgers got hot and was basically unstoppable, right? And I believe it was the next year he actually went and won the Super Bowl. So, or the next year he went and won the MVP. So this is right when you expect Jordan Love to kind of take that step. And the fact that he had maybe the best game I've ever seen him play, the Dallas game is up there for sure, right? But I think this might be the best game I've seen Jordan Love play as far as ball placement, decision making, and all of that. And he does it in Pittsburgh, where we haven't won since the 70s, against Aaron Rodgers. I think was a huge statement game for Jordan Love. I think it tells everybody how good he is. And oops, Dave is back. Anyway, Dave, we said nothing but nice things about you while you were gone. So
if you said nice things, that is.
I just saw his arms sticking up from below there because they got pushed down because of all the videos.
So to finalize my thing about Jordan Love, I've been talking a lot of crap about Matt LaFleur's play selection, and I thought it was great last night. And I think LaFleur is finally trusting that Love is the engine of the offense. LaFleur wants to run the ball. He wants to do his short passes. He wants to do his fancy plays. Let Jordan Love cook, man. Let him throw the ball down the field. Let him be aggressive. If he makes mistakes, he makes mistakes, because right now he's on one, man. Use it to your advantage and play off of him to get the running game going, because the running game has not been great. Though Emmanuel Wilson, shout out, dude. He ran really hard last night. He made a couple plays. He made a couple first downs that I was like, wow, how did he get 8
he looked
yards?
A lot faster than Jacobs last night.
Yeah, when he should have got 2. Yeah, I think Jacobs is still coming off the ankle injury. I mean, but that touchdown cut that Jacobs made to the outside, like, he could smell the end zone. That was really good. But Jacobs looked a little bit slow in that game. I think Wilson getting more carries was very indicative that Jacobs is still recovering a little bit. But good job, Emmanuel Wilson. And here's something else, Doug, that you brought up. I'll let you talk about him, but Devondre Wyatt was blowing up the insides last night and allowing Parsons and allowing the rest of the defensive line to make plays. Rashawn Gary had 2 sacks. Parsons had the 1. Wooden actually should have had that sack on the Aaron Rodgers thing, but I thought Wyatt had a really good game last night. And Doug had said, hey, we're getting him back this game. That could make a really big difference. And I got to tell you, Doug, I think it made a big difference in the pass rush more than the run defense, because he pushes dudes around and doesn't allow the quarterback to step up into throws, which means he's got to step to the side, and then we got our 2 ends right there. Do you know what I mean? So Rodgers, go ahead.
He's a natural pass rusher. That's why he was taken in the first round at defensive tackle. He's a big, super athletic guy, and he never really brought it together till this year. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he would have little flashes here and there in the past where he'd play well, but never consistently. And this year, he's now playing. He's literally playing better than a Kenny Clark level or above. Like, he might be better than Kenny Clark's best year. that he's
Definitely
had.
on the pass rush, he's better than Kenny Clark.
But he's had games where he's played the run really well too, which is not usually what we expect of him too much.
Right.
And the thing is, we've seen when he's gone out of games, our defensive line like falls apart and they just don't play very well at all.
Yeah.
So I think he's a great player in there, and it's really important to have those good defensive tackles in there, because otherwise you could just double up the rush ends all the time and chip them like constantly. So that's really true. And he did make a couple plays in the open field too. I think he had like a couple plays in the flats and stuff too. He's a pretty quick guy for how big he is.
He is.
And I really liked what Green Bay did in the second half, where they put they moved Micah right behind Wyatt.
Yeah.
Because normally, you see where teams like they do the double A gap where you have two linebackers and you don't know which is which. It just like Green Bay just said, no, screw it. We're going to put Wyatt right on your nose, and you don't know where Mike is going to come from. And that messed up Rodgers.
And that way, down their speed to just bend around him.
Yep.
So
and then,
fast.
you can't, because the centers there are trying to call out who's going to get who and who's going to double team and everything.
Yeah.
When Wyatt's right behind the D tackle, you don't know which way he's going. So he could loop around. He could go right up the A gap. And you could see Micah was just sitting there waiting. And then he was picking his spot and he was getting through every time. I love that call. And you can really only do that in 3rd and long. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But the Packers were getting them in 3rd and long because they were disrupting Rodgers and because he couldn't use the short passing game against these tight ends. I'll say this too. Edrin Cooper and Quay Walker had a fantastic game tackling. So did Javon Bullard. Like, I can't remember. Warren had 2 or 3 plays, but I can't remember a single play where their wide receiver or tight end caught the ball and wasn't on the ground in a second. Do you know what I mean? Like, we were all over.
They did have a couple plays where dump off passes where they ran right past tackles and people just missed tackles and stuff. But
that was to Warren. Yeah, that was mostly to Warren. Like I said, he had a couple of those, but Freiermuth, I know he got hurt. Hopefully he's okay. He didn't do much of anything. Jonnu Smith did next to nothing all night, right? Arthur
2-point conversion.
Yeah, other than that, but dropping the 2-point conversion. You're right.
That's what I said.
Conversion. Yeah. And Washington, their other big guy, didn't really do a whole lot either. So Rodgers couldn't really.
They had the
tight ends. Did we lose Dave again? Yep.
Yeah, we did.
Dude, it's because you're the universe knows. The universe knows.
Okay, Dave.
I can hear you. Try it again, Dave.
1 moment. Let's see.
Oh no, we hear you now, dude.
We can hear you.
Yeah, you're there.
Well,
technology is a beautiful thing.
The Packers
Maybe
defense
he can't hear us. Go ahead, Doug. I don't know.
Well, okay, so the Packers defense is elite level when they don't miss tackles. We can hear you, Dave. Oh. The Packers defense. The Packers defense is.
I think his headphones are off now because he can't hear us. Okay. Finish your thought. I'm sorry, I just had to laugh at Dave. He's gonna say something weird and he doesn't know that we can hear him. Oh, now he can hear us. Okay, go ahead.
So the Packers defense is elite when they're not missing tackles and not just blowing assignments. But they did do that this game, even though they played well enough and at the end, to win the game and everything and kind of shut them down in the second half. The Pittsburgh only had 1 third down conversion, but they were doing well on other downs. And it's crazy that, we come away from this game feeling really good and saying the Packers kind of dominated them overall, but there's a huge amount of improvement that needs to happen. Like,
big time.
You saw in the first game against the Lions and kind of against the Washington Commanders, the defense played a full game of playing well and not missing tackles, and they couldn't do nothing. The Lions could barely score a couple field goals, and that was it.
Yep.
So that should be the expectations of the defense of just playing within themselves and not. I don't know how people just miss tackles from dump off passes like that just so easily, but they did pull it together at the end, and they just got to stay focused and keep doing that. And then they have a chance to make a run in the playoffs if they can, because I think that they might settle down and play well because they know in the back of their head, if they just do their job, Mike is going to come in and close the game out at the end. He's going to get 2 sacks in the fourth quarter and it's going to be over with.
Dude, and I'll say this too about the defense, because I was really worried that Rodgers was going to tear him up. So the second half was a complete change from the first half. The Packers had scored 28 points to the Steelers 3 until the Steelers got that last second touchdown, which we could also say expedited replay got potentially right. That's a tough one for me. Either way, the rule is the rule. But So they only had 3 points until the very end of the game. And their first 5 drives, Steelers' first 5 drives, 3 of the 5, they were 3 and out. So the Packers go down, the Steelers go 3 and out, the Packers go and score. The Steelers go 3 and out, the Packers go down and score, right? The Steelers get a field goal, the Packers go down and score. The Steelers go 3 and out, the Packers go down and score. So it was just like the everything was humming until, the end, and the Steelers got some points. But the defense, I think, was really the engine that allowed the offense to get back into the game and take advantage of that. And yeah, I was really impressed with the Hafley. We were talking about, is Hafley going to make an adjustment this game? I feel like he did, and I want to give him credit. I thought Hafley actually had a really good game. And by the way, he didn't blitz, I think, maybe more than once or twice that I saw, and it worked. And most of the time, I hate that we don't blitz. But Aaron Rodgers is a different kind of guy. He wants you to blitz so he can figure out where to go with the ball. He's always been really, really good against the blitz. So I can understand why you wouldn't do that, especially if Wyatt's back in and we're getting pressure, because we got a good amount of pressure. So I will give Hafley credit. I thought he had, other than the Lions game, I would say this was Hafley's best performance of the season. And I think the Lions game was a little bit of the electricity of Micah Parsons, like juicing everybody up, to where now we've kind of had some stinkers and had to figure out a way to fix it. So I was really impressed with the defense in general this game.
I wonder, though, if they gave a team a formula to beat us, though, because in the first half we could not stop their jumbo package, which kind of is a new version of the tush push-ish, where you're just putting a bunch of big guys in there and just running the ball. And they do run it outside in different ways, but like the defense is not ready for it. And they were just gashing us for like 3-4 yards every time, maybe more.
But right now, there's only one team that really runs a jumbo package, and
just
that was
the Steelers.
The Eagles busted it out yesterday. They had 10 plays where they went with an extra offensive tackle in there, because previously they tried running with 2 tight ends, and if it'd be Dallas Goedert and somebody else, and somebody else can't run block worth a lick. So yesterday they finally said, screw it, we're going to put Goddard, we're going to put a tackle in there, and they were able to move the ball. And it's no mistake that Saquon suddenly had a big game again. All of a sudden, that's where their rushing attack came from. So that's the only other one out there that really uses jumbo a lot.
And I could see
the Lions used it historically under Dan Campbell. It'd be nice to see them bring it back. I wish the Bears would, but
I think this day and age, like Ben Johnson has seen what your guys' running game means to you guys winning ball games. Like, again, if they're going to stack the line because they're not afraid of Caleb, then yeah, maybe go jumbo and maybe just try to run. Because I got to say, Swift has been the best player on offense by far on the Bears, right? He looked really good even yesterday, even though he didn't have a ton of yards. Your second touchdown, he was weaving through and he made some great plays. So yeah, Swift has actually been pretty good. And I can see the Bears running some jumbo against us. I can see a bunch of teams trying to run jumbo against us. But again, I think our linebackers are good enough this day and age. We are one of the best teams against the run, guys. Like there's a reason why the Packers are so good against the run. It's because their linebackers play downhill so well. So I think that's only going to go so far against the Packers if you try to do jumbo. Rodgers did complete a pass to a tackle, by the way, which was interesting. Right? That was actually kind of cool. But, I mean, you can only go so far doing that. And I think the second half kind of proved that and how good our defense was.
Well, the second half, they couldn't do jumbo. The guys got hurt.
Yeah, well, even so, they still had the option of putting in another big guy if they wanted to. They had more big guys. They decided to get away from it because they needed to score and catch up with us.
Big guys aren't just interchangeable. We are a skill position. We're not like DBs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, according to the
if you're not used to playing that extra tackle on the end, you don't know if you're supposed to be crashing down on the end or crashing down on that outside linebacker or blowing up that safety.
Yeah, and plus, if they're backups that aren't that good, it would just be a waste because they.
I thought offensive linemen were smart, Dave. I thought they could figure that out. Isn't that their whole jam? Aren't offensive linemen the smartest guys on the field? Shouldn't they know what they're doing?
That's where the honor roll is for the entire football team is the offensive line.
Because there's guys that couldn't make it at tight end and stuff, so they had to.
and
so speaking of which, have you guys actually made it this far talking about the Packer game without bringing up yak and cheese? He had 140 yards of yak yesterday.
Yeah.
He was a one-man wrecking crew. That one play where it looked like Jordan Love is they're getting pressure on him. He throws off of his back foot. And it kind of reminded me of playing 500 with my kid, with my friends, growing up. Yeah. And you just see him and he kind of goes up there and he kind of gets it, runs around, twists around the defenders, gets a big, and he had a couple of big plays too.
He had like 5.
Oh yeah. So he's I can't believe that you guys made it this long. He's the MVP for Green Bay's offense right now because, right, like you said, Jacobs is hurt. I can't believe how that Jacobs got that touchdown run because it looked like he was supposed to go out the tackle and there was nobody guarding on the outside, and he popped out and he ran around 3 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Dude, like, he can smell the end zone without Jonathan Taylor, who, by the way, is like looking amazing, who's like got 14 touchdowns. Jacobs is actually number 2 in rushing touchdowns in the NFL. Like, he is great at getting in the end zone, which is something Packers teams have lacked for, it seems like, a decade and a half, right? So, like, I think people take for granted how good Jacobs is in the red zone and how good the Packers are in red zone scoring touchdowns versus field goals.
Red zone, if you give him
he's so good. And he was slow. I was even texting you guys. I was like, Jacobs looks slow. I think he's still hurt. The whole game, it looks like he couldn't get it going. And then he gets that one run, and he's like, whoop, like a zip tie, just boom, out to the outside. And I was like, yeah, he smelled that end zone, man, and he could get there. So
he saved a speed burst for the red zone because
he did. But Dave, I will agree with you because we've been saying forever, get the ball to Kraft more. Tucker Kraft is the best offensive weapon the Packers have, even better than Jacobs. As much as I love him, Jacobs is amazing in the end zone, but Tucker Kraft is the best offensive weapon the Packers have, and we need to use him more, 7 or 8 times a game.
I think he has like 8 yards. He has 8 yards after.
He leads the NFL in yak yards per play. Yeah, he leads the NFL in yak yards per play. Get the guy the football. Now, they make a lot of plays so he can get yak yards, but let's be honest, he had 2 or 3 catches last night where he was just throwing dudes around, and he is quick for a tight end on those cuts. The second touchdown where they threw it over the middle, there's 2 safeties and he outran them both.
Yep.
Like, tight ends should not be outrunning safeties. Now, to be fair, Pittsburgh safeties aren't very good. But even so, they should be fast at least.
His 10-yard split speed in the 40-yard dash, the first 10 yards or whatever, is as fast as you're going to find in a tight end in the NFL. Is faster than Kittle, faster than Ted McBride, all of them. So, and he's such a big dude. Like, if he's going that fast, you can't just grab him. You got to, like, actually put a hit on him. So he just runs right by him. It was surprising. But this is the thing. They had, like, 3 or 4 plays in the game that were, like, scripted just to get him the ball, like a screen to him, where it was, like, specifically, like, we need to get him in a position. And a couple of those plays didn't work because it was so obvious what they were doing. The defense knew it. But who cares? Just get him and Jordan Love on the same page and get it going. Like that throw that he threw up, you know, that you're talking about, Dave, where he's literally getting hit as he threw. It looked like the throw was going to be amazing. As he's getting hit and letting it go, he's losing power on the ball because he's getting hit like really hard from the front, and the ball just kind of flutters. And Tucker Kraft just goes, I don't even care, man. Yeah, it's like 500. I'm just going to push you over and grab the damn ball or whatever and just run over guys. And that's the thing is, like, the Packers have needed stuff like this for so long. They've been such a finesse team. And they play so like lackadaisical all the time. Like, this is the thing that they've needed forever is Tucker Kraft and Jacobs to come in and play gritty football. And Tucker Kraft gave speeches after the game. He said, I do this for you guys, for my teammates. He's like this. I want to be on this team. Like, you're my team. I want to be here. I love Green Bay. I love everything about it. He comes from a very small town. To him,
Green Bay's. Yeah,
he's like, I've never been in a city this big.
Green Bay is New York or the Midwest.
You know, the Badgers needed guys like this. The Packers needed guys like this that have grit, that want to be there, because the big problem they have is players don't want to go there because they want to be in Miami or somewhere warm or whatever, right? Or a big city. And they need players like Tucker Kraft and Jacobs that are like, no, I want to be here. And Micah Parsons now seems like he's buying into that culture too, where he's like, I need this. I need to be in a place that's about football and I love my teammates. So all that juju, I think, is helping the team a lot.
Yeah, I mean, for Parsons, it's the opposite. Dallas is all about the drama. The football comes later. In Green Bay, it's all about the football, and the drama can leave, right, or get traded to the Jets. So, yeah. So, but hey, I'll say Rodgers again was cool. He said a lot of good things after the game. He said a lot of good things to Love, and Love has had nothing but great things to say about Aaron Rodgers and what a good mentor he was. So, thank you, Rodgers, for being cool. Unlike Favre was to you.
And Rodgers is trying to find somebody to buy his house in Green Bay.
He told Parsons to buy his house, which is hilarious. And maybe he will. I don't know. So, no, this was, to me, like my favorite game of the season, just because, like, going into each of the Packer games, I was like, it can go either way. And I was certain that Rodgers was going to win this game. I just thought in my heart of hearts that Rodgers is absolutely going to torch us. And it was the opposite. Love absolutely torched the Steelers and, Kraft as well. So kudos to them. Best game of the weekend. Snoop Dogg out.